I think it's recording.
Yeah.
I don't
Yep,
hear the.
it is.
Okay.
I see it. It's on the
Okay.
screen.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Open Doorway service. It's wonderful to see you all. My name is Chemi, and I'm a board member of the Open Doorway. As you have noticed, we don't have Terrence today because he is traveling, but please do stick around because we have a wonderful guest minister who will conduct today's service for us. Her name is Elise Marie Clare, and she is a certified intuitive counselor and spiritualist minister. She developed her psychic and mediumship skills through many years of training at the Holistic Studies Institute of New York City. For over a decade, she has led seances and given psychic readings. Elise is also an accomplished visual artist and writer, and she is currently completing her Master of Fine Arts. A little over 2 years ago, Elise gave us an inspiring talk at one of our services. And for today's service, Elise has prepared for us a presentation on the topic of surrender and a special healing meditation. I would like to now hand this over to Elise for invocation.
Okay. So in keeping our focus in our mind, I would like to start with a little prayer. I'll say it in Hebrew and then I'll translate it, which is opening. It's El Nora Aliyah, Hamatzi Lanu Mechila Beshat Chaneila. And that means awesome and transcendent divine one. Find for us grace and forgiveness, and may it all come through at the closing of this service. So we ask you, Divine Parent, to open up into this space, to deliver us the information, the healing, the energy that we all need to surrender our energies, to be open, to be clear. And by the end of the service, we're completely in your grace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Elise. Okay, now let me share my screen. Okay, so here's the spiritualist principles. Can you all see my screen?
No, I don't see them coming up just yet.
Okay. Are you seeing it?
No. Ah, voila, we see it.
Okay, so there was a delay.
So it's common that we, at our services, we invite you, the guests, to go ahead and read along silently as I read the Open Doorway Spiritualist Principles aloud. So we subscribe to the following principles. Number 1, infinite intelligence. The deity, the designing and creating energy for everything in the universe. 2, one universe, many dimensions. From one source came all that is present in our world, our galaxy, and beyond. 3, the immortal soul. The soul is eternal. We seek truth within ourselves, from other souls, from sacred writings, and from the natural order that sustains us. Number 4, communication between the material and the non-material world. Spirit transcends all dimensions. All souls, flesh, and spirit communicate with each other. 5, personal responsibility. Cause produces effect through thoughts, words, and deeds. We create ourselves and our circumstances, and we are singly responsible for our choices and creations. And 6, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is our highest morality.
Thank you, Elise. Now I will show the slides so you can start your talk.
Aha. All right. So in our intro conversation, I was talking about how I recently have a new position. And what I've found in my new role is that I'm still facing many of the same anxieties that I was facing in a job that I had for 6 years. And I found myself feeling very perplexed as to why. Shimi, if you can go to the next slide, that'd be great. Thank you. And I included this quote from Sri Shambhavananda because essentially my guides in a meditation told me that it's my karma and that I needed to understand very much what this quote is saying, that it's important to understand that most of the karma that you go through doesn't have to manifest if you can surrender. Surrender doesn't mean getting up and not doing anything or not caring. Surrender is the ability, rather, to take the forces and energy of the mind, body, emotions, and all the drama that are part of your life, and to let them go so that you can be detached enough to experience the inner energy. And I'm not perfect, and I'm still struggling with this. And if you go to the next slide, Shimi, that would be great. And what I found was I kept saying to my guides in an intimate meditation, okay, guys, it's really great to tell me that it's karma, and but why am I having so much difficulty letting them go? And basically, it's really up to me to understand that I am attached to the outcome of the setting, of the connections, of the anything that's happening at my new role. It's really my attachment to things that is allowing this excess anxiety to be produced. And that anxiety is having some negative effects on my physical person. I'm having some issues with, for instance, my digestion and whatnot. And it's an energy that I am trying to manage with my guide's help. If you can go to the next slide, that'd be great. So just to go a little deeper into surrender is one of those elusive subjects that, due to being misunderstood, it often gets a bad reputation, as though somehow it was synonymous with admitting defeat. Surrender is not waving the white flag, as I think that I have been looking at it, but it's a profound practice in which we consciously become aware of tensions within our being. And without fear or resistance, we allow them to have their moment, and then it dissolves. We go to the next one. Surrender can be said to be the foundational practice of meditation itself, because meditation requires us to abandon the habit of reaching towards something or pushing it away. And it's this tug of war, after all, that is the cause of our suffering. And by suffering, I mean attachment. It means being attached to something that causes us anxiety, or, all of the negative energies that I am allowing, for instance, in my own personal experience, to spiral within me. And you can go to the next. Thank you. So for me, I am working on this, and I'm sure that all of you will too. That surrender is accepting that once you have done everything you can do, there's nothing left to be done. And this is a big thing for me, particularly culturally and also socially, how I was raised. We were not taught that you were to just leave something. Everything had to be done, and it had to be done perfectly. So for me to accept where I am and everything as it is a very, very big, it's a very big task. So surrender is breathing deeply into this place, into this buildup of tensions, and allowing everything to pass on its own. It's the conscious recognition that despite what may be playing upon the surface of your life or your inner nature will remain unscathed. You learn to find an inner state of peace, and in so doing, the less any external force will have the ability to affect you. And you can go to the next slide. So, although we're going to do a guided meditation, I wanted to share a little mini one that I've been doing by myself at work to try to find peace and calm when I go to the break room or when I go to the restroom. And basically, I feel like it's very helpful that it's wonderful that we do, an hour-long service and we have a real deep healing, and we're going to do that. But that there are times in our day when we are affected by anxiety or whatever the case may be, that we have a kind of like a mini session where we can actually work on the issue in the moment. And I'm finding it very helpful. Now, I thought that if we had more people, we would go through it. So I think I'll just leave it in the slides then, Shimmy, so that we could be right, rather than go through it.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
you feel is right.
Yeah, and so, but this is a mini version of what I've been doing daily if I feel overwhelmed, and to try to, it's my mini surrender meditation for the moment. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So you were gonna do this little miniature meditation?
I was gonna just, if we had like more people, I was just going to say, what do you feel like if you do this little mini one? I've got a long guided one coming, but I figured because I think Shimmy is going to circulate the slide if for anyone. Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. So Amada, I will share this file at the end. And yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so we can go to the next slide, I think. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a background on why and how I built thank you so much. Why and how I built the guided meditation in the way that I did. I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with what the chakras are, right? But I actually I focus my meditation and my spiritual life very wholeheartedly into Kabbalah. And what you're looking at is actually what is called the Tree of Life. And the Tree of Life has all of these circles, if you will, and they're called Sephiroth. And essentially what they are, we can think of them very much like chakras. And the really neat thing about the Tree of Life is that the Tree of Life is a blueprint for it lays over the human body. All of these points are points on the human body. They're energy centers. They're multi-dimensional centers. And there's actually a center, a Sephiroth, if you will, a chakra, that is specifically meant to deal with the element of surrender. And that is called Hod. That's H-O-D, and that's the orange circle that Shimi is so kindly expanding on this small little image. And, Hod is very, it's very, like, especially right now in time, it's very centered upon, in terms of prayer in the Jewish calendar, for instance, because it basically is the time when Yom Kippur comes, which is where the prayer came from that I did during the invocation, is basically you're praying for surrender, you're praying for God's grace, you're praying for clearing and healing. And it's very timely considering where we are. We're about a week out from the Jewish New Year, more or less, maybe a little more. And then Yom Kippur is 2 weeks after that. So it's situated in the first week of October. And it's a very, very special time. And it's in the calendar year, and it's a very special Sephiroth to be focusing on, particularly right now. And I think that I wanted to give a little context for what I was focusing on, and probably what I wanted to do was that you'll see when you get through the meditation that most of the energies that will surface during your meditation will be emanating from this particular chakra or Sephiroth, if you will. That will be where you get your guidance from. I just wanted to give hi, Amy. How are you? I just wanted to give a little context for where I built it and why. And also for you to know who and what will be speaking to you as you go through the healing. So we can move on to the next slide. And this is just a slide furthering what I just tried to say without it, is that Hod is about humility. And basically it is where we recognize our desires and our wishes. And this particular Sephiroth teaches us that we don't know everything, and that our plan inevitably doesn't contemplate numerous factors that we don't know and can't know. And developing this Sephiroth will bring us into a greater place of peace, calm, and acceptance. And so that is my plan with our guided meditation.
Okay.
And we're ready to go, I think.
Okay, so let me stop sharing the screen.
Okay.
Okay, and I will pin.
Thanks for your patience. I always like to give an idea of what and why I did something. I feel
it's really
to give
helpful.
context. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And yep.
So just Amy, just wanted to let you know that well, I'm glad you're here, and just wanted to let you know that we just finished Elise's talk, and we're about to go into Elise's special healing meditation. Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
We're
Amy,
happy
thank
you're
you.
here.
Yeah, we are happy you're here. Okay, Elise.
All right, everyone. So obviously find yourself into a comfortable space. Try to limit any noise or outside anything that might be impacting your experience, and try to settle yourself. And I invite you to bring your awareness to the spaces between your body and the earth beneath you. I invite you to feel softer in your place you're sitting, and to feel more restful. I invite you to surrender into relaxation. And I invite you to now pay greater attention to each breath that you take. Taking a full breath in through your nose, filling your lungs, letting it out. And with each breath, noticing that the space between your body and the earth becomes smaller and smaller with each breath. And all that I ask that you do is allow your awareness to follow my voice as I guide you through the field. Follow the gentle tide of your breath and don't alter it. Envision your breath as a golden light flowing up and down your spinal column. With your inhale, the golden light flows from the tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. And with your exhale, that light flows from the crown of your head back down to your tailbone. See this light as a cosmic tide of prana, a continuum of light, rising and falling with each new breath. See that light grow. See it vibrant and golden, radiant, just as you are. Continue to breathe, feeling lighter, peaceful, and at rest. Continue to follow the sound of my voice. I'd like you to imagine you're standing in a luscious field filled with tall grass. It's a clear day. The sun shines brightly. There's a cool breeze that blows through the blades of grass, twisting them to and fro, gently back and forth. You watch as they undulate with each passing breeze, simulating the flutter of ticker tape flowing down from tall windows in celebration. Watch as that breeze ebbs and flows waves through the field, calming you, pulling you deeper into relaxation. As you stand there in the golden light of the sun, you feel yourself grounded to the earth. An earth which is firm yet soft, making you feel balanced, at ease, confident. You feel free like the wind moving across your face, upward, feeling the warmth of the sun. Gaze at that beautiful blue azure sky. You take in nature's beauty. You feel one with it, free, confident, aware, and alive. You smell a faint hint of late summer wildflowers in the air trickle past your nostrils. The scent brings you warm memories of times past, once again reminding you that you feel secure and safe in this place. A sea of swallows passes you, and you are called to follow their trail with your eyes. In the distance, you see they are headed to a grove of trees. You decide to follow them, walking steadily through the field towards the tall and wondrous trees. When you arrive at the grove, you are immediately struck at the girth of the trees and texture of the bark. For you know you've been here before. You remember their wisdom, and you remember their guidance. You decide to walk inside the grove. As you step inside, your eyes adjust to the shade of the trees, the dark emerald ambiance that feels noble and old, solid and grounded. You notice the earth in this place, more rough and scented, rich with the sounds of wildlife. The peck of a woodpecker in the distance, sound of knocking branches as two squirrels chase one another up and down an old elm. The path through the grove continues in front of you. Easily find your way. You know this place, and you've been here before. Continue to walk, step by step, firmly grounded, very confident. And in time, you come upon an open space in this grove, quiet and safe space. A clearing where there is a very large petrified tree stump. You decide to go and rest on that stump. As you sit and rest there, one of your guides appears. Your guide has come to bring you a message that they know is very important to your path in this moment. I invite you now to speak with your guide, accept their gift. I will call you back in a few moments. Now, call you back for the information your guide has given you. You feel confident, aware, mindful, ready. You are prepared to return. you begin the journey back to that wondrous field with the turning blades of grass and the soft wind. Steadily you walk back to that field. The swallows fly with you, alongside of you. You feel energized and calm, peaceful, yet directed. Once again, you know this space and you remember its messages. You've been here before. And now it will soon be time to return to our space, to this time, to our everyday. I invite you to gently guide your awareness back to your physical body. Become aware of your breath. Your body slowly breathing in and out. Without opening your eyes, become aware of your surroundings. The ground beneath you. The sounds that are around you. The way the air moves. And as you come into this space, this time now, deepen your breath. Become more aware of your current space, your confidence, your stability, the message you received. Bring that all with you. Feel your weight on the chair, your feet, and your hands. When you're ready, wiggle your fingers, toes, your eyes. Turn.
Thank you, Elise. That was really lovely.
Oh, thank you.
You have a nice voice. Taurus moon tends to have nice voice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taurus sun and Taurus moon. So that was really nice. Thank you. Really relaxing.
Oh, good.
All
Yeah.
right. So let me unpin you. And let me share my screen again. Okay. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Okay, great. So I have the prayer for spiritual healing. So Elise will read this aloud and we can follow along silently.
Okay. We ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from our bodies and our minds and bodies, and to restore us to perfect health. We ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and we will do our part. We ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help, and to restore them to perfect health. We put our trust in the love and power of Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right. So let me bring up Elise's contact information. So here is Elise's contact information, her name and her email address. So if anyone is interested in receiving a psychic reading from Elise, you can contact her at that email address. And let me drop that same information into the chat box also. Okay, let's see.
And also, if you have any questions about what I presented, I'm always happy to answer anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
difficult, yeah, to do it when you're giving a talk, but of course, if anyone has any questions.
yeah. So let me share Elise's presentation file into, let me drop that file into the chat box also. Elise has generously agreed to share the file with us. So let me do that. So Amy, you can download it and read it later. Hang on. Okay, it should be in the chat box. Can
It
someone
is.
confirm? Okay, great. So how to download that? You just need to tap on the file or click on it and open it on your screen or your computer or on your device. And if you're on the computer, you can just click on the download icon to download. And if you're on a device like phone or tablet, you can use the, you can tap on the icon to email the file to yourself or save it to the cloud. But if it doesn't work for you, let me give you my email address so that you can email me and I will email the file to you. And if you don't mind putting the subject line, email subject line, surrender, so that I can spot your email quickly. So I just dropped my email address and the email subject line, surrender. So if you are not able to download a file, just email me and I will send it to you. So Elise, have you been studying Kabbalah for a long time?
Yeah, probably since about 2010. But not the Kabbalah of Madonna or the popular. There's like this is more the Kabbalah that I study is more, how do I say, more Gnostically oriented, and so it's not what I notice about, for instance, the Kabbalah that Madonna promoted or promotes. It's more about like abundance, and they use things more in a transactorial fashion on this plane, and that's not necessarily the purpose of how I see Kabbalah, and most Gnostics don't. So yeah, I basically focus on the spiritual aspects of it. I see them as energy centers. I see it as not only a way of life, but also a way of understanding, for instance, our karma, what's happening within our bodies and our spirit. It's just an extra degree of knowledge, I think, that really helps me to navigate through my life. And also because I have read the Quran, I have read, the Hebrew Bible, meaning the Old Testament, and obviously the Bible, the New Testament, at such great length in several different languages, in Hebrew and Arabic, that I find that it pulls it all together for me within the Kabbalah, because that's where much of this started. So I just find that it's very, very helpful for me, for my own spiritual journey and path.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah, because Christianity really is, it's, it has its roots in Judaism, and much of the things that we, that you study or you learn in Christianity, they're just stemming from the Judaism. And then Islam is really the bridge between the two, because it houses both. And so both, though I think Judaism and Islam house and espouse so many spiritual teachings that most people don't, we don't, I think that we don't have always the opportunity to learn. For instance, even in Islam, for instance, they talk a lot about the jinn. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of what they are, but the jinn are basically spirit beings that appear in the morning and at like at sunset and sunrise and sunset, and they actually have lots of different ways of managing these particular groups of beings, and it's all in all of the text once you start getting into it and studying it. So but for me, the Kabbalah is like, I mean, there's just such a rich, intense knowledge there. There's spiritual protection. There's just so many different parts of it that have aided my spiritual path since I left holistic studies. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
That's
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much again for sharing with us
yeah.
this knowledge and this insight and a wonderful healing meditation as well.
I enjoy it.
Great. So let me go to the next slide. Okay, let's see. Are you still seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so upcoming events. The next one is the annual members meeting on October 5th, which is Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And this meeting will be conducted by Terrence, and members will have the opportunity to review current business and address issues vital to the future success of our community. A notice with further information and a Zoom link for the meeting will be sent to the community voting members. And if you'd like to become a voting member, please email that info@opendoorwaybrooklyn.com. So let me share that email address in case you guys are not voting members. Anyone can become a voting member. So here's that email. Okay. And the one after that is the online healing service, October 16th, which is Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time with Pam and Ari from House of Vitality.
Yeah. I introduced them to Terrence.
Oh, that sounds great. Great.
Yeah, they're super, super cool.
Oh, good. All right. And then we have the online message circle on October 21st, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And the psychic mediums who will be handling the circle are TBA at this time. And we have a new procedure. Please follow the temporary procedure below to sign up for the online message circle. So if you're interested, please email info@opendoorwaybrooklyn.com, which is the email address that I just shared in the chat box with you, with your first and last name. And a confirmation email with Venmo info will be sent to you momentarily. And if spots are filled, an email will be sent to you indicating as such. And once the fee has been received, and I believe the fee is $25, an email with the message circle Zoom link will be sent to you. So that is the new procedure for now. And I believe we are trying to simplify this procedure. Okay, so let me stop sharing. Okay, and remove pin. All right, now we can see everybody. So please unmute yourself so that we can chat. Oh, before that, we have to do the benediction. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So let me pin Elise again so that she can do that benediction. Okay.
Okay. Divine Spirit, we thank you for your presence here this evening. We know that you're always with us. We thank you for the confidence, the energy, the guidance that you've given us in this very brief hour. And we look forward to the week ahead and to the promise of more from you, because you're always there. Once again, we thank you for all that has been given. And in your name, amen.
Thank you, Elise. All right.
So, Elise, I have two questions for you. One, when you had put when the slide with the who came on,
Oh,
those other letters were in Hebrew. It was the equivalent in Hebrew.
yes.
Okay,
That's
because
why?
well, because when I saw the letters in Hebrew, it came to my mind that just looking at the letters, I could meditate on that.
Because
Just
you're
on
very,
that.
very, very, very gifted. That's right. Because there is a technique which I was considering doing. There are 72 names of God in Judaism. And basically, what you can do in order to take the emanations of the names, like, have you ever heard of that before? Have you heard about like 72 names of God or in Judaism? Amy, you're shaking your head. Yes. Okay. Have you heard of like 99 names in Islam? There's 99 names in Islam. There's 72 in Judaism. And basically all they are, because we're practicing spiritualism, is they're aspects. They're aspects of the divine being. So like, for instance, God is merciful. There'll be a name for that in Hebrew. If you meditate and you look at those letters for that name, you will then take that emanation of the mercy. That's what you are getting. You see how smart Spirit is? You see what it guides you to? I'm always amazed. Really, I am. It is, it's just amazing. Yes, you can actually do that. I do that all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
when you, oh, I apologize. Go ahead.
no, I'm done.
So when you had mentioned about, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I think it's the jinns.
Yeah.
How you pronounce it?
Jinn. You can call it Jinn.
Okay, the jinns. So what came to mind was, and this is something that I would love to be so structured to do. I attempted doing it, but I couldn't. In Islam, there are the 5 different hours for the prayers, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So when you said about in the morning and at night, that came to mind. The 5, I forgot what they call it, the 5 times to pray. So does that have some type of connection with that as well?
The Jinn, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Could
Again,
you explain, please?
sure. So the Jinn are very active, and I can associate it like this. Just like if you were working with the angels, or when when you do a lot of healing work, ideally it's better to do a seance after 7 or 7:30, ideally, because the time here shifts and it actually pulls out different emanations that basically from 7 till about midnight or 1 o'clock, you're in a more of a concentrated and a safer zone, okay, of energy when you're doing seance, okay? But the Jinn, when you were talking about prayer, when they come out, you actually have to protect yourself from them. And they're kind of like, how do I say, they can have some impact on your prayer, or at least Muslims believe this, and they are most heightened as the sun rises and as it sets. So that is maybe why you picked up on that. And yes, they can impact your prayer. The Muslims also believe, I mean, that the jinn interact in there every day. So that, like, let's say that they have a bad interaction with somebody, like at work, a colleague. They may, in a spiritual context, blame the jinn, blame the energies at work, blame something that is bringing something around that's not necessarily good. For my purposes, it's just almost like a spiritual recognition of the fact that all types of energies exist, and we have to kind of like raise what we surround ourselves with, regardless of if we're in a seance or if we're starting like in Islam, if we're going to do a rak'ah, if we're going to make the prayer for the azan when the call to prayer comes. It's really just, it's all the same thing. I mean, you know, it's very similar. I just think that there are a lot of constructs in both Islam and definitely in Judaism that address a lot of these spiritual things that I think definitely in Christianity, unfortunately, people don't address. For instance, why is holy water holy water? There's one very express magical difference. There's salt that goes into that. That's an ancient magical, it's a magic rite to put and bless salt and put it into the water. That is what is happening with holy water. That's what makes it holy. It's a magic act. And I think that, you know, incense, whether you're going to, you know, go to a Catholic ceremony and they burn particular types of incense, usually it's frankincense and myrrh. But if you go to an Eastern Orthodox church, you're going to go ahead and smell benzoin, which is the Three Kings, which is a different incense. But they are all built around the same idea that you're protecting. That's why we burn incense. We invite things in. And I just think that it's all the same thing, but we, you know, when you learn about the rituals and the symbology of it all, it's just all very helpful to your own practice. Yeah. And Jesus, by the way, was a Kabbalist. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. 100%. He knew exactly what he was doing. Anyway, it's one of my, you know, for me, it's an ancient practice. It became very, very popular. When I say popular, it started to have its own form of writing and be, you know, have a presence in terms of scripture only in the Middle Ages, meaning Kabbalah. But prior to that, it was in existence. This is the Kabbalah that I know is the same Kabbalah that Jesus of Nazareth practiced. 100%. 100%, because it was already in existence. He knew it. I guarantee you. I would stake my life on it. I mean it. Yeah. So anyway, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, the imam that I followed transitioned, I think it was a month and a half ago, and I was so heartbroken. I had him give me a Quran. He was like, well, what do you want it for? You can't read it. I said, I want it. I want to have it. I want to have it. So, and it's funny, I've been cleaning my house and I found it a couple of days ago, and you don't know how ecstatic I was because I found it, you know, and I was like so happy because that was my well, not my last connection. He must have given this to me like 20 years ago, but it was my connection with him. And I wasn't able to speak to him in his last year or so. So I was so happy to find it. But you know, I have always thought that you know, the religion of Islam is very interesting, as well as Judaism. And at times I have gone to both, not at the same time, but I have always reached out and picked different aspects in it. Like I said, I tried to do those 5, you know, the times, you know, but at that time I was working. So, but I did as much as I could do, because I thought that it's a real big key in how to manage our daily life. And a lot of people they're not aware of it, you know, not only the prayer aspect of it, but how symbolic it is in helping us in our day-to-day move throughout our day. So
I mean, I think that I have prayed. I worked for a Muslim attorney for about 4 years, and I had the great privilege of praying with him, and also hearing him, because, you know, the male in that instance will lead the prayer. I would be praying behind him. That's the system of prayer, if you've ever done it. And I can tell you from my own experience that when he was praying, and he was praying in Arabic, it's his native language, you know, and I'll never forget it. During one session, he chose a surah that I had never heard before, and I started having all of these psychic visions. And when we finished praying, I said to him, you know, he's actually one of my closest friends, and now, and I said to him, would you mind if I asked you a question? And he said, sure, go ahead. I said, what were you saying? Because this is what I saw. And he told me, Elise, the surah is about building a protective caravan over you. And that's what I saw, was me as a female getting into a caravan being carried by the angels. That was like completely, like almost like one of those medieval, you know how they used to carry kings and queens through the streets on their, and he said, that's exactly what it is. You're asking for God's protection and shielding and housing of your soul. And so I knew from that experience, and that was way back in 2013, that what they are praying is very real. Very, very real. The context of the surahs, I even did there's a lot of, you know, Amada, I don't know if you're interested, but on YouTube, there is an imam that did a series of lectures, they're all free on YouTube, about all of the prophets in the Quran. And he gives us different context. He gives you the history, why the Muslims have it as they do in the Quran, the history, the backstory. I found that tremendously, it was just so helpful. I think there's like 42 free videos if you're interested. I loved it.
yeah, what's his name? Do you remember? Or
I don't remember it, but I basically
send it to me.
I'll try to send it to you. I think I have your email. So
Yeah,
but it's just, I mean, I think, you know, just like in Judaism, technically Judaism should have 5 times to pray, but they don't. They cut it down to 3. And I do 2 times a day, because I do in the morning and I do at night. Only because during the day I'm working. So it's very hard to
yeah, it is hard. It is.
but I love it. So you know, and for me, I find that the prayer is it is so united because of the way that the words are written in the book, that it makes me feel very I don't know, very unified. very focused and at ease. Anyway, yeah, I mean, this is, I changed my life when I was in my late 20s into when I turned 30, and then after my dad committed suicide, I really changed my life. And that's where all of my seeking started. So I never stopped. I love learning about all these things.
No, I think that is important. We have to evolve. When people stay stagnant, there's no growth, there's no progression. And that's what life is. To me, that's the reason why we are incarnated, because we came to do something. And unless we are in that flow of learning, of course, nobody's perfect. We're gonna, have, our days and times that we're gonna fall, and then we get back up again and we learn, and you keep on moving forward and seek and learn and acquire knowledge, and you start it all over again.
Yeah, most people also don't know, like, in terms of Muhammad, the prophet, how spiritual a journey he went through, and how mystical there are, obviously, right, about how Jibril gave him the words that he didn't read and write. And then all of a sudden, here he is, doing that, delivering the Quran from basically the words of the angel. I think that's incredible. And I don't know, there's just certain stories also about his life that to me are amazing. Because I've also listened to the hadith. You've listened to the hadith, what's the hadith? The stories about his life, basically, like accounts. And there's this major one where he lived in like a complex, with all of his children and his, he had wives, many wives. And he had a neighbor that lived across the hall from him in this complex. And the neighbor didn't like him, didn't believe in anything that he was proposing, nothing, and really detested him. And he detested him so much that he actually used to urinate on his front door every day. And he did it every single day. And one day when Muhammad came to the door, there was nothing deposited from the neighbor. And so Muhammad went back inside and he told his wife, I don't know what's wrong. He hasn't come to the front door today. And so he went across the hall and knocked on the door. And when they opened up the door, he said, where is Mr. So-and-so? And that man's wife said, well, he's not feeling well today. And then Muhammad said, would you mind if I come in? Because I've missed him urinating on my door and I'm worried about him. And he went inside and he prayed with him to heal him. To me, that's a very similar story that we might hear about Jesus. To me, it was a story I heard about him that put him into a different context. I think the more that we learn about these figures, we deconstruct some of the ideas that we may have heard. And especially as, I'm sorry to say, but especially as Americans, we don't know. How many Americans don't know that Mary is, she's dedicated her own sir. Jesus is in Quran. She is in the Quran. People don't realize that. They don't know. It's a, sorry, I'm just going on. I don't mean to take up too much time.
That's okay.
It's just
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's just one of my things. And I would encourage you, Amada, to continue to pray, to seek out a new home for maybe prayer if that really hits your heart. You have to go with what drives you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Elise. And thank you, Amada, for asking the questions, because
Yeah, 100%.
the rest of us got to learn from Elise.
Well, yeah, that's it, I guess. Yeah, it's always, we're a small group, but it's always a pleasure, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Like they say, whoever needs to be here at this time is, you
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
absolutely, you know. You just gave me a very good reminder, actually, praying with my old boss. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that. That was, oh my gosh, that was
Oh,
awesome.
what the story about the prayer? Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that was awesome. Yeah,
Very
thank
powerful.
you.
Yeah, for sure.
Amy, do you have any questions for Elise? No? No? Okay.
No, I
Yeah.
appreciate her time. Everything was beautiful. I thank you that I was able to make it today and be
Yeah.
on time.
Yeah.
Get in there get in it anyway and not be on time, but at least been able to get into the meditation.
Yeah, and you get to download the file so you can read you know,
Oh,
what
yeah.
Elise went over too. And if you have a hard time, you know, downloading it, please email me and I'm happy to send it to you.
Yes, I'll probably email it because it won't show up on my device here.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'll give you an email.
Yeah. So the talk was about surrender, which, you know, we all of us get, you know, need a reminder, you know.
Mm.
It's not something that
Yes.
we're conscious about all the time. So yeah, thank you again, Elise, for sharing that with us.
Sure. Well, we're finished.
Yeah, well, let me stop the recording.
Oh.
So stop the recording.